All right, welcome everybody to the Friday Mastermind. Every Friday, we are here to bring inspiration, to bring ideas, to bring stories, and to bring strategies. And today, as one of my special guests, we have Muddy, the founder and CEO of Unleashing Awesomeness, or Unleashing Awesome. He operates the company under the name of, is it Whiteboard, Muddy?
That's right, Whiteboard Academy.
Whiteboard Academy. I've interviewed him multiple times. For any of you who have been to Sales Mastering in the past few years, you've seen Muddy visualizing, creating visual summaries of the speakers. Lots of events. He was at Fairway's event this year. He's been at a lot of events in the mortgage industry. So Muddy, welcome to the call, brother.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave. And hello to the Mortgage Coach Mastermind community. Awesome to be here with you guys today.
Right on, guys. So Todd Bookspan is going to sit this one out. He's not making it. We are going to have Renee Rodriguez joining us. I don't know if it's going to be 10 minutes from now or 20 minutes from now, but he will be here to bring his awesomeness to today's call. And I posted the topics. So you guys saw the topics that I posted. We're going to kick it off in just talking about the power in the pursuit of wow. So while the core topic that we're going to talk about probably the most today is how can you bring wow to your next Zoom meeting, a competitor of Zoom, or a Facebook Live? Like, how can you make that a wow? And to me, a wow is not only more engagement, it's more entertainment, but it's also more memorable. Like, they remember what was covered that was important after the event. That's important to wow. So we're going to share some ideas on that. I'm also going to share some takeaways from shopping. I did not personally shop, but a leader in the mortgage coach community, Brian Morley, $100 million producer out of Columbia, Maryland, shopped 5 different lenders last weekend. And we're going to share some takeaways from that. Also, I've had, I'm doing a lot of interviews. I'm creating a lot of content. I'm meeting with a lot of C-suites. And I had some clarity this week on the 4 things that matter most when it comes to creating clients for life. And it came and it started around this conversation that all the news that Quicken's going public. You guys have seen it. And like, what does that mean to the mortgage space? And what does that mean to local referral-based mortgage professionals? I think it means something. And I'm going to talk about that. And I'm going to outline what are the 4 things that matter most if you want to create a client for life, to where I'm local, I'm referral-based, and I don't care if Zillow gets in the mortgage business. I don't care if Amazon gets in the mortgage business. I don't care if big banks improve their mortgage app and use artificial intelligence to give auto approvals to all my clients. I don't care, because I have clients for life. And I'm going to talk about the 4 things that matter most. That will be in the last kind of closing thoughts of today's call. So while we're waiting for Renee to join us, I'm gonna do my description of the power in the pursuit of why, or the power in the pursuit of wow. And then Muddy, I'm gonna have you talk a little bit about it from your perspective.
That sounds great.
Yeah, so guys, I think a lot of people do know, because I've said it a number of times from different stages, but some of you don't. Mortgage Coach is not the company name of Mortgage Coach. The formal business incorporation name is Wow Tools Inc. That is the company name of Mortgage Coach. And I also own the domain Wow Selling. And I've read a lot of books on sales, and I have had a lot of breakthroughs as a salesperson and as a sales leader. The defining breakthrough for me, where I went from this loan officer that close 10 loans a month, close 2 loans a month, close 12 loans, close 3 loans. You call it just the roller coaster of a mortgage professional, was when I had the epiphany that the key to selling is creating wow. Like, if I can meet with a family and they're like, wow, this guy has my best interest in mind. Wow, this guy knows his stuff. He's an expert. Like, if I can get him to have those 2 wows mentally, I won the business. And I didn't get rate shopped as much. And even if I did get rate shopped, they wanted to do business with me. I could be an 1/8 higher, a 1/4 higher, and still win the business, because I created the wow. And so, and that goes for a real estate partner, that goes for a financial planner. And one of the things I've learned over the 2 decades that I've owned Mortgage Coach, and remember that's 2 decades that I've owned Wow Tools, that I founded Wow Tools, I started Wow Tools, is that it takes a special type of leader to really understand the fine line, the little nuances between good, great, and wow. At the end of the day, a fee worksheet, it's good. You can close loans with a fee worksheet. That's just one example. A Mortgage Coach total cost analysis for some families, that's great. But if you want to be a Wow loan officer, giving a family a total cost analysis each and every time is how you become a Wow machine. Because not only does everybody get it, but because you do it all the time, you become Wow. And I've just learned, because I've mentored, thousands of loan officers now. We have a community of America's most successful loan officers. I am so proud of Mortgage Coach and the unique, you guys aren't just customers. You're not just members. We're like a work family. We're like a business team. It's a really special community. And there's just that fine line between good, great, and wow. And so that goes for virtual experiences, which I've learned that when it comes to doing a Zoom event, by the way, I don't think we're at wow. I think we are at really good to kind of great. I don't even think we're great at how we show up in virtual events at Mortgage Coach. I think this background by my marketing team is pretty wow. But there's more moves to be made. And this week I interviewed Muddy, and I learned some wow ideas. Earlier this week, Rene Rodriguez is creating a new video that he's going to be releasing into the wild any day now. And guys, it's a wow. It's like 5 wows. You're watching this 2-minute video by Rene, and you're going, wow. And so, my goal by the end of this call is that we give you some ideas to create wow in every area of your business, clients for life, how to just show up for a family better. But the big theme will be, how do we create wow when doing virtual events? And like I said, Zoom, boom, by the way. Hey, buddy, talk to make sure the camera goes to that. They got to see that.
Yeah, right on. So thanks, Dave. And as I was listening to that, there were a couple of pieces that came through for me about wow. And it occurs to me that they're very well aligned with the Mortgage Coach tool and the way that your coaches are using this, in that creating wow, you talked about, this is something that's custom. So you are creating this for that person. It doesn't feel like boilerplate. It doesn't feel like I'm getting the same thing everyone else is getting. The second piece of that was that the experience itself is awesome, right? So that one-on-one, that teaching, that learning, you really become that advisor to them. That is a differentiator for the Mortgage Coach community from others, and that helps create that wow. And then ultimately, it's something that's memorable, right? Just a regular rate sheet, like every other rate sheet, is not going to stand out and be memorable and lead to that wow, or create something that they can use and share with others to talk about their experience. So another way that, just capturing some of those wow moments in a visual way.
I love that. So a couple things I'm going to transition to you, Muddy. So one, I want to have a level of wow engagement in this call that's a little uncommon. While we get a lot of questions and comments in chat, so if you're watching this Zoom, there's a little chat feature, but I want to have a wow level of engagement. So if you're in Zoom watching this live, I want you to let us know where you're at. So at least I know that everybody knows how to use that feature. And I know how many of you are using that feature. Like, hey, I'm participating. I know how, and I am. So let us know where you're coming from us, city and state, or city, however you want to identify yourself. Same thing goes for our Facebook audience. If you're watching us on Facebook, let us know in comments, where are you coming to us live out of? I want to make sure you know how to comment. And I get it. I know some of you are either multitasking right now, and some of you are like, I just don't play that game. I don't raise my hand. I don't make comments. Gary coming from Jackson, New Jersey. Bob, Bellingham, Washington. Robin, Louisville, Kentucky, in my home. What's up? Jay coming to us out of Newport Beach. Lynn, Sun City Grand in Arizona. Tom from San Diego in the house, not the house. What's up, Tom? So guys, keep that coming. Here we are going to our Facebook viewers, and Joe, hey, from Philly, Ed from Milwaukee, Steven from Facebook. Right on, Steve. I like that. You got to be a little different. Virtual land. We got Mike from Hartford County, Maryland. So cool, man. So that was cool. Thank you guys for the dozen or so that participated. That puts us at about, I don't know, less than 20% of you guys. No, more, about 20% are participating. So guys, remember, let's do a wow with audience participation today. So Muddy, why don't you talk about your pursuit and power of wow? But I also know that I use the word wow, you use the word awesome a lot because that's your word. So why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, right on. Thanks, Dave. And it's the way that you and I connected. So first of all, kind of the 30-second background. My business is called the Whiteboard Academy, and we're on a mission to help others unlock awesome through visual thinking. So people hire us to capture ideas in a visual way, right? Some of that, what you just saw on that clipboard, I don't know what's going to happen in the conversation, but I'm listening, capturing that in a visual way, almost like a whiteboard video, but it's happening live in the room. So a neat thread, because Rene Rodriguez connected me with Marissa Calderon, Executive Director of NAREP, the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, and had the chance to come and help unlock awesome. So I'm set up with a big whiteboard right next to the stage, capturing those conversations and creating these visual storyboards, these visual summary storyboards. It keeps the audience engaged. It helps people learn and remember at a deeper level because they're seeing the conversation take shape. And then it creates these one-page takeaways, these one-of-a-kind handmade takeaways that then they can share and tell others about what happened, so that information has a much bigger impact. And I was at NAREP.
Buddy,
yeah.
I'm out real quick. I know you have one of those visuals. Why don't you show it on the screen? Because I just want to make sure people connect the dots. Like, would you say that? I know what it means because I've seen it multiple times. But
Right on.
But like, guys, this is an example from Sales Mastery, or sometime when we did an event together where we were doing an event and Muddy is listening and visualizing. So I just want to make sure people knew what you were talking about.
Right. So here I'd be set up next to the stage capturing. This was that first event I did with Rene Rodriguez. Here's another event with Rene from NAREP. So this is what one of those visual summaries might look like for a quick 30-minute talk. And then here is the one from Slaying the Giants, the Fairway event, where you talked about becoming a mortgage advisor black belt. And so I'm capturing this live. This is a 3-foot by 4-foot poster, but I'm drawing this live in the room. And so they'll all be lined up on the side of the room. And so just wanted to kind of give that context before I talk about just the power that using some of these tools helps create wow. So thanks for the prompt. I'll stop the share for the moment. We can bring that back up when it works. But so that's the way that I'm working with leaders. But the idea is that when you bring in this visual component, and Mortgage Coach is founded in some of these same principles of using these kind of visual components. When you bring in this visual component, it enhances learning. You know, they say people remember like 10% of what they hear, but when they hear it and see it together, all of a sudden they can remember 50, 60, 70% of that. And most people, 80% of people are visual learners, and we understand visuals. We understand graphics and visuals 60,000 times faster than we understand words. So if you're writing just words, most of that, it just takes longer to sit and process that. But if you can have a little graphic, a little image that brings that home, your audience is going to pick up that so much quicker.
So guys, do you believe that? Like he said, 60,000 times faster, and you've heard the word that a picture is it a million, tells a million words, and so do you believe that? And obviously the numbers are the numbers. Maybe it's 60,000, maybe it's a million, maybe it's 3 times, but do you believe that pictures and visuals say more words, people consume them faster, and people remember them more? So I would just really push the audience, because if you're going to create wow visually, you need to have an understanding. Remember one of the phrases I said at the very beginning, it takes a special type of leader to discern that so fine line between good, great, and wow. And one of the things I've noticed that when I watch, who are the mortgage professionals, who are the leaders that become that wow, is because they are so gifted and special at discerning the line between good, great, and wow. And so you really got to embrace that. So we have Renee Rodriguez, and what is up?
What's up, guys?
So Renee, just to set the table, I told kind of the origin story of Mortgage Coach and Wow Tools, and shared some of my thoughts on just how unique it is and how special people are when they can really distinguish the difference between good, great, and wow. And I talked about that a little bit, and then Muddy told his kind of the origin story, and he gave you credit. I didn't realize it till last night, Muddy, when I told Renee that, hey, I'm going to have you on the call. And he's like, oh, because I introduced you to Todd Duncan and helped get you on the Sales Mastery stage. And he helped put you on the NAREP stage, which is how I met you. So that we all figured that out last night, which I think is so cool and special.
I'm a big Muddy fan. Big Muddy fan.
Yeah. So let's do this. Let's transition this way, because I want Muddy to finish his thought on an idea to create wow. And then Renee will bring you in. So Renee, Muddy, if there's anything you want to say to frame it, great. But I know one idea that I have for the next Zoom/Facebook Live event. It's like, have Muddy visualize it. But why don't you share an idea? Like, what's an idea that everybody in this community could get that would help them create a bigger wow at their next virtual event?
Yeah, so here's a super quick one that you can implement today. And actually, I've seen Renee do this from stage. And when you just put the flashy, fancy PowerPoint aside, pick up a pen and paper and draw on a flip chart or draw on a piece of paper on the back of a napkin with your client and do that in real time, and Renee would confirm this, there are some physiological reasons that people lean in when they see something handcrafted, and when they see something perfectly typed, they lean back into consumer mode. And so that's an easy thing you can do. Scrap the PowerPoint, and even if you want to have something pre-prepared, you can have it pre-prepared with handcrafted graphics, right? One thing I often do is help clients put together graphics into a PowerPoint slide. So it's still PowerPoint, but it captures that handcrafted element, and automatically people are way more engaged. Their brain is just way more engaged. They can't but help it. So that's a quick.
You guys, while he was saying that, you noticed, a lot of people don't know it, but if you click on share screen in Zoom, you could just share your desktop. You could share a specific app or video, which one of the things I learned from Renee a week or so ago is that if you share a specific video, it will actually use the speakers of the camera and the speaker of your laptop, and it will play the video better. And guys, you can grab a whiteboard and you can start visualizing things. And there's all kinds. I can change the text. I can erase things, so there's a whiteboard built into it, and there's just a lot of flexibility. And by the way, guys, you can also pull up your mobile phone and shows something on a mobile device. So just using that screen share feature more dynamically is one idea to implement on that. Anything else you want to add before we bring it to Renee? Any other ideas you want to share real quick?
When the time is right, I also have on my screen a visual summary of Renee's first TED Talk, and talk about a way to capture those ideas in a really shareable way. I mean, it brings home all those key ideas and insights in this one-page graphic, from his power-packed, 20-minute, 30-minute TED Talk. So I'll hold it for now, but that's a teaser. When the time is right, we'll share that too.
All right. Renee, you're up, brother. Share some ideas, man, and some philosophies.
Well, I want to confirm everything that Muddy just said. What he's talking about, and it's exactly why I ditched PowerPoint. PowerPoint does trigger two parts of the brain called Broca's area and Wernicke's area, two just tiny little specks in the brain that decipher language. And it's there to say, okay, I read what you said. And it does nothing else. You draw a picture and you tell a story, and the brain from a functional MRI scan and SPECT scans just completely light up like a Christmas tree, but also the listener's brain lights up. And that's the neuroscience, why we do something like that. It creates novelty and excitement. And so 20 some years ago, I worked with somebody that does what Muddy does, and I'd lost. I don't know where he went. I don't know if he passed away or anything, but we used to bring him to every single event, and they would capture visually what's going on. And when I saw Muddy, and it was in South Carolina or North Carolina, I literally ran up to him. I'm like, oh my God. And he does it even better and faster. And not even that, he's capturing from the heart what's going on. He's hearing and visualizing things that, we didn't even know could be visualized. And you hear the talk and you hear your notes, but you watch his visuals and it just brings up all of that stuff. So I think, it's amazing. And I couldn't agree with him more. The hand drawing pieces and doing something different and unique is there. But yeah, we've counted over 200 of these events in the last 4 months, and just over Zoom and understanding all of it. And it got to the point where I just saw the typical webcam presentation, and where everybody looks flat and the lighting is different, and audio quality is one thing. And we started asking ourselves, and I said, what do we have to do to change that? And that's another principle of influence, is how do you create contrast for you to appreciate the quality of an HD camera, which I know Muddy has. I can see it. He's got a nice, very nice camera there. You have to be able to see it in contrast to what a webcam looks like versus what a high definition experience looks like. And, for me as a presenter, I want to be able to do that in the touch of a button. I don't want to be able to I don't want to have to go and click Zoom and say, oh, hold on a second. I want to be able to do that. One of my brandings is neuroscience. And so I have a floating brain that sits above my microphone. And so that's a different, unique piece, but it keeps people there because it creates novelty, and novelty is what we're trying to create. Novelty creates dopamine response. And so, I might want to keep it simple and just keep my branding there so people know how to get a hold of me. And so then the other pieces that we want to do are, they say, Renee, how do we get a hold of each other? And so you just go to creneespeak.com, and this is just a very simple way of doing that via Zoom. And so all of those elements are about creating movement. Your brain is designed to notice movement, and that's for protection. If you're in the woods and you see something move, your eye is going to immediately go towards it. Same is true in your language. If your language does not move and it's boring information that I've heard before and it's a monotonous voice and I'm just a talking head, my brain does not get engaged. And so we have to be able to engage even with our hands and movement and things like that, or a spinning brain, or concepts that come to life right on screen. If I want to talk about love, I've got to have that ready to go. And so, even being able to do things like control my logo to be able to create that branding. And all of that stuff is about innovating within there to keep the audience engaged. And so, people ask me all the time, what are the 6 money-making activities? And so now I can click a button and it all comes up there. So all of that to say, we have to keep the audience and the movement on the screen there. And then when you keep movement within the sequence of a story that you're telling, something that actually moves from one end to another and has a middle and a beginning and an end, and powerful frames and origin stories like both of you told, with then messaging and tools and tips, and all of a sudden we've created something that's way more engaging. And What I'll tell you right now, Dave, I don't know if I've shared this with you, but doing 200 of these for 4 months, now I'm getting full fee for virtual events, sitting at my desk at $17,000, because we're doing things that are different, right? We're able to do things that are different because people don't know how to do it. They just take a keynote and they move it to this, and it's usually on some sort of bad screen, and they're just doing the talking head that everybody else does, but their audience needs engagement the same way that your customers need engagement. And so you've got to find ways to innovate. And the way I'm doing that is through what they call a stream deck. No different than you would on ESPN, going through different camera angles and things. And you just got to embrace it. You got to be able to go and find the technology and find the people that are going to be able to help you, and realize that this is how the world is going to be for at least the foreseeable future. Why not take it to that next level? And so I was actually on the phone talking to Andy Burton just recently, there you go. Look at that kind of stuff. Are you doing this right now? Oh, I love it. See, my eyes, I don't even remember what I'm talking about. I want to watch him draw.
Yeah, this is
that's how it works.
To make sure the camera goes to you, buddy, why don't you just tell us what we're looking at here?
Yeah, so I just switched over to my document camera. So, it's neat because I also support everything that Renee is saying. And so I've got multiple cameras in the room, one of which is a document camera. So I can draw on my desk as I'm listening and use that as my camera so the audience and the speakers can see that happen live. In some ways, even better and closer than they would if they were in the room. So, and because the graphics support what you're hearing, they don't distract. It doesn't pull you away from the content. It brings you into the content to understand it more.
So guys, is that a wow? And will that help you not only be more engaged, get the wow, but will that help you remember and take action on this post-event? I mean, at the end of the day, why do people spend so much money on live events? It's to create new knowledge, to create new inspiration, and then to create a longer, lasting change. And so, I mean, I think it's a good argument to say, in this virtual world that we live in, there's a lot of wows that could be created, and there's a lot of lasting changes and improvements that can be created. And guys, in the mortgage coach community, you have a huge gift here. Muddy is one of the best in the world at what he does, and he's showing you this stuff, and he's also a resource to you. And then Renee Rodriguez. I mean, you're talking to one of the best keynote speakers in America. You're talking to really a one-of-a-kind leader when it comes to influence and leadership. His Amplify Live event is amazing. You heard from me multiple times in the past, it's the best personal educational experience I've ever been through. And now he's gone through this virtual shift. 200, did you say? 200 virtual events over 2 months? Or was it 4? How many events? 4. 400 virtual events.
No, 200 over 4 months. Sorry.
Okay. And then here's the deal. I think what's really unique and why I am paying so close attention to Renee is, guys, he's a keynote speaker, and his price is $17,500, and he's got to go, how am I going to be as valuable to do that? So you got a guy here that needs to play at a really high level to do it. And I'm not here to say every loan officer in America, you don't need to do what Renee does. You can't draw and craft like Muddy does. You're talking about two of the best in the world at what they do. And by the way, they can't even do what each other do. They're both specialists playing at a huge thing. But here's what I want to tell every loan officer in America. Guys, you are in a position right now. Well, not every loan officer, everybody in the mortgage coach community, everybody who's tuned into this video, everybody that wants to be the wow, wants to go beyond great and be the wow, is you could do it. And at your next realtor event, you could blow their minds. And it's not budget killing. These are affordable options that you could implement so that when you do a Zoom event or a Facebook event, you are the talk of your town. I want every mortgage coach leader, people that give every family a total cost analysis. My why is to make social change how people get into debt in America. And I need you guys to deliver that experience. And I also need you guys to be the most influential, most well-known mortgage professional in the cities that you live, in the cities that you do business. So you guys are just sitting on this gold mine of opportunity. So Renee, what are, I mean, you kind of, I'm sure everybody's like, wow, wow. You know, like what are some things that people could do to just go a little bit from great to wow, or good to great?
So I love what you're saying there too, Dave. And your why is also why I spend so much time with you. I mean, aside from the friendship and who you are, and you teach me how to cook and wine, but all that good stuff. But your commitment to really growing is fits right in line with what I want to do, and so I appreciate that. You know, I was talking to somebody, and we're all familiar with the old by referral only tactics and methodologies, and you know what the core teaches, which is fantastic and some of the best stuff out there. And doing simple things like being able to put the welcome sign when somebody walks in, managing that customer experience. And he was just talking to me, and he said, "Well, God, I can't do the welcome sign anymore." And I was like, "Yeah, you can. Like, this is my welcome sign." And you just design the welcome sign that is there, and you can design somebody's house to go right there to create that custom experience with them. And it doesn't take a lot of effort to be able to do it. Yeah, I've got a few technologies that are here that I'm more than happy to share with people how that stuff works. But being able to find, even if it was like Muddy was saying, drawing on a sheet of paper or the welcome sign and just having it drawn right there and showing it to them, you know, that's that kind of piece, or putting the welcome sign right in this is part of your brand. This is all part of the presentation. All of this space right now matters. And so if you notice, everything in Muddy's backdrop is part of his brand. Everything he's there, he looked at his grid and he goes, yep, that's what I want in there. I don't want that. He's got an example of his stuff. He's got the branding of the academy. He's got everything there matters to that. I've got some of my favorite books, my favorite basketball. I've got a microphone, and now I can add a brain. You know, so all those different things are part of the grid that you're trying to manage. And how are you sending that message to the customer to be able to do that? Now, I'll say one more thing too: eye contact. So to me, there's two different ways of doing this. Right now, I'm not looking at the camera because I'm in more podcast mode where I'm thinking, and because I'm not looking at you, it allows you to observe and absorb what I'm saying. The moment I stare at the camera, though, there becomes a pressure of speaking to you, and you feel like if somebody's staring at you, you have to stare at them. So a lot of people will avoid this kind of thing, but this is why podcasts are so easy to sort of voyeur into and listen. But if you want to connect with your customer, you do need to lean in. I see too many loan officers do their meetings like this. All right, guys, so what we've got is we've got a great plan set out for you. They're really super comfortable in their chair, but they've got all of this message that they're sending back. Instead of what we want is to be able to lean in and be able to see the eyes of what's going on. And if I've got your stuff here, I'm going to be telling them, all right, so I've got your stuff right here. I'm going to be like, okay, now that's what we're thinking about. We've got something really cool. And you see my eyes, I'm going back and forth the same way I would if I was in person. And so you've got to be able to manage eye contact. You can't do this view when you're dealing with a customer. You can't be like, yeah, no, you can trust me because I'm not even looking at you. You've got to be able to do this. And so you got to be able to position your camera close to the photo on your screen. So one of the things that we're doing is innovating, is we're taking teleprompters, which put a screen and a camera behind it. So I can see right here, and this will be next week, I'll have this. I can look at the camera and see you at the same time. And I've got everything. I've got the eye contact. You've got mine. Now it's like we're looking at each other the whole time. And so that is because I understand the importance of these two things and where they are. And so right now, until I do that, I position mine as close as I can to that so I can just make a real simple eye shift. But also, I'm also framing it. I say, guys, I'm also saying, hey, I'm looking at this because I want to see what you're looking at. But then if I'm talking, I might do this. But I want to see as long as we're talking about it and telling people what that experience is like, it's there. Now, if you're listening to this thing, that's overkill. It may be. But if we are all in the business of creating trust, and that trust used to be hand to hand, shake hands, and it can see you, and that's been taken away, then you got to unpack what trust is and what is it that creates trust. And it's where your eyes are and where your hands are. Eyes tell you if someone's interested or not. And if you can't see that and they can't see that, there's an unconscious process of whether they trust you or not. And so we've got to be able to have all of those little elements starting to come together to create a better experience. And there's nothing better than you showing up like this when your competitors show up like this. And so sometimes it's that simple. And so those are all the little things.
So a couple questions from the audience, and then Muddy, we're going to bring it back to you to share that image. that you wanted to share. So one person asked, is it okay to have my mic show in the screen, or should I take it out of screen and does it matter?
It depends on what it is. And so if I'm dealing, like I'm on podcasts, so there's kind of a branding thing that goes with this. It shows that I'm a professional, so it sends that kind of message. It took me 2 months to get comfortable with people seeing the microphone. I used to hate it. And so I would be here because I thought it was pretentious, and it can be that way. There's some people that hide behind it, but I tell them, I say, look, I want you to really be able to understand me. That's why I have this thing. And so I want you to be able to hear me. So that's just by me claiming it. It makes them understand why it's there. And so that's it all really depends. There are some great microphones that are up and down that sit right in this area, right there out of screen, and that you sound great. Go with what makes you feel most comfortable.
Yeah. And I just pull it up, my Yeti. This is not inexpensive.
Same mic I have.
What's that?
Same exact one I have.
Okay. So pretty well known, and you could have it in the mic, out of the mic. My 2 cents on that is, guys, it does depend. If you're meeting with a family, connect with them. I probably wouldn't have my mic if I could avoid it. But if I'm, doing a Zoom meeting with a realtor, and it's an audience, maybe I do want to show it. But guys, these are also personal choices. I think the takeaway is be intentional. And if you want to be great and you're like this, that's not good. That's bad. That's bad. And if you're having a sales meeting and you have most of your energy and your influence and you're standing up, stand up. Be yourself. So all these things depend. Hopefully the takeaway is be intentional. And if you want to be the wow, which means you're going to have a better conversion rate, you're going to be a more attractive leader, you're going to get more referrals, and you're going to have a lasting impact on people, you need to play at a higher level than bad lighting, not knowing that the camera is a screen, and not being intentional. Renee, one last question for you before we bring it to Muddy. Someone asked, would you be willing to share a list of the equipment and software you use?
I'd be happy to. I'd have to have time to put it together. Right now I have 6 softwares running to be able to do this and to be able to run, start a video.
Stage could be
and all of that. So there's a lot going on. Let me see if I can get some basics there. I think if you just understand some of the basics of 3-point lighting, I've got 3 lights going on right now. Most people think that lighting is about pointing it all in your face. It's not. This is just one key light, a very soft fill light, and an edge light that's in the back. These are all very small lights, but done right. That's the thing. It's just, you can see how, even just look at Muddy, he's got everything edged out. He looks like he's popping through the screen. His background almost looks fake but it's not. And that's just proper lighting. So being able to do that, it doesn't cost a lot of money. I do use a DSLR camera as that. It's about a $600 investment for just a basic entry-level Canon DSLR. But then you have to have Zoom doesn't like you to use that stuff. And so you've got to do about 3 or 4 workarounds to make that happen. But I do have a guy that has the full list, and he charges $500 to get it set up as a consulting fee, which to me is, I keep telling him he needs to raise his price, because to be able to achieve this for $500 is the biggest no-brainer I've ever seen in my life. But if you guys want, I'm more than happy to give you this info.
Renee, why don't we do this? Why don't you create a list of what you think is called the WOW Loan Officer package that's pretty basic and easy to self-implement? And then why don't you give us the contact information of the consultant that, if you want to, play at the high, you want to be not just a loan officer, but you want to be an industry influencer. Well, why don't we have like WOW Loan Officer, WOW Influencer, and give the guys contact information if they want to be the WOW Influencer.
You should do a call with him. It's actually pretty cool. Well, he's got his setup.
With us, why don't you find out when he's available, and let's you and I interview him together.
Perfect.
Okay, that's coming soon, and we will get a basic list out with some contact, and then I will do a call with Renee and this, audio visual expert to come up with the speaker influencer package. So, Muddy, let's bring it back to you.
I do got to go, Dave. So I just want to say I gotta head out, if that's okay. Awesome, Muddy, dude, you're the man. So good to see you there.
Before
Great seeing you.
leave, Renee. So, guys, you've heard me being an advocate and evangelist for Amplify Live. Amplify Virtual is coming soon. I know you've got some pretty cool messages and some pretty cool videos coming, and you're going to be launching that. How can people follow you, and when are you going to be launching Amplify Virtual?
I'm happy to play the video. I just don't want it to take 2.5 minutes, or we can send people to where to go see it.
No, we can do 2.5 minutes, bro. If you can do 2.5 minutes.
I think I can be just
So,
turn on.
by the way, if you're watching this on the recording, the video may not have sound to it. We'll put a link to the video down below, and I might even try to edit it in. But if you're live, you're going to
It'll have sound.
Check it out.
It'll have sound. All right. Which is one. The stage can be a scary place. All eyes are on you, judging every word that you say, every movement you make, just to see if you're going to add any value. And if you don't, well, you're done. But this isn't the only stage. Every meeting, every face-to-face interaction, every phone call carries the same pressure and the same consequence if you fail. Oh yeah, and now you have to do all of that virtually with less space, bad lighting, and horrible audio. And the expectations? Yep, they're still the same. What a lot of people don't understand is that everything that you do either contributes to or takes away from your influence. Your body language, facial expressions, voice inflections, sequence of language, micro expressions, timing, all of it is part of the equation of leadership. And I'm not talking about public speaking, storytelling, or even inspiration. All of those are a means by which we achieve what we're all here to learn, which is influence. On this journey, I'm going to give you the tools that I've gathered over the last 20 years and reveal the secrets of the world's most powerful communicators. You're going to learn everything from the neuroscience of influence to storytelling, even how to shift perception, which will literally change people's reality. I get this crazy question all the time, if I know any Jedi mind tricks. Yeah, we're going to cover those too. One of the biggest changes we're all facing right now is that everything that we learned about body language has changed. When you're live and in person, you can see my hands move. But in today's world, that box has gotten a lot smaller, and we have to learn new skills. These skills are life-changing. The ability to tell your story and communicate an idea in a way that not only people will listen to you, but act upon what you're saying is truly one of life's greatest experiences. So no matter where you find yourself on this journey of influence, I promise you, this course will meet you there. I'm Rene Rodriguez, and this is Amplify.
Boom.
Well, you're officially the first ones to see it.
So, guys, was that
Thanks, man.
powerful? So if anybody wants to learn more, where do they go to learn more?
See Renee Speak /Amplify. Just click on there. And you guys are the first to see it. So I don't even have any captures on there. So you can just go watch the video and send us a message, get a hold of Dave, and he'll get it to me or send me an email or go to, there we go. Go to See Renee Speak. I forgot I had that button. SeeReneeSpeak.com. Dave, buddy, you guys are awesome. I love all you guys. I hope this was valuable. And next time you see me, I'll have cooler stuff, hopefully.
Make sure you send me a date when we could have your AV expert on the call.
I'm on that right away.
All right, take care.
See you guys.
We got about 15 minutes. I'm actually going to close by showing a WOW mortgage coach video that takes about a minute. But we just got a lot of great takeaways from Renee. So, Muddy, let's close out with some of your how to create WOW on the next event. And anything you want to say after hearing Renee talk.
Yeah. And I wanted to highlight, so I also teach a digital studio's best practices, have taught a digital studio best practices. I can affirm a lot of what he's saying with lighting, audio. In fact, we've got it kind of boiled down to 5 different pieces between lighting, audio, video, your space includes your backdrop, and then your system, the software and things that you use. But the video is the lowest on that list. The highest is audio and lighting. And what, I don't know if you guys all noticed how good Renee sounded when he's up close to his microphone. In contrast, when he pushed it away, how distant you sound when you're a little bit farther away from your microphone. So as it relates to kind of a quick practical tip you can use today, doesn't matter the, exactly what microphone you use, but get closer to it than you think you need to. And, a lot of times you see Dave wearing his, the earbuds, the Apple AirPods, that same kind of thing. It's a mic that you're nice and close to. And one other quick recommendation on that note, if you're moving around, you can get a lavalier microphone. And so if I'm drawing in the room and I'm using the big board behind me and I'm moving around, I use a lavalier microphone connected to my computer so that the audio is still, I'm still close to the mic. So anyway, quick pro tip about Digital Studio.
No doubt, guys. And I just put in my earbuds or AirBuds, and I actually, most of the time when I do this, it is a higher quality engagement. I actually don't know why I did this call relying on the mic of my MacBook. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I do this. Sometimes, when I'm creating, the big event content, I'm using this. So the message is know the difference between bad, good, great, and wow. And if you want to play it wow, be intentional about playing it wow. So Muddy, you were talking about earlier, because I want people to really get the wow of drawing and visualizing things. And I want to see more of our community hire you for their next realtor event, because guys, you're not going to be able to do what Muddy does. He is very affordable. And I would love to see Mortgage Coach community members hire Muddy for a big realtor event. So what would that look like? And what are we looking at here, Muddy?
Yeah, so 30 seconds before I answer that question here's two visual takeaways from what we heard Renee talking about related to eye contact. So eye contact, when you're looking at each other, creates trust, even across the digital divide. Also, it can be okay to be looking at the screen, because actually it can be easier to listen when you're looking at the screen, because that eye contact can be, people want to look back if you're looking right at them. So it's okay to be looking at the screen, and he called it kind of in podcast mode. It's actually easier for you to listen to me if I'm not looking right at you. If I'm looking at you, you want to look back and anyway, those were two visual takeaways from what he was talking. So here's what I want to share as it relates to wow. So, and there's a couple of ways to do that. The couple of ways that we work with our clients. So what you're seeing me kind of demonstrate some of today is live visual capture, right? So I'm listening for those key ideas and insights, those nuggets, right? Those takeaways that are still going to be useful in a day, in a month, in a year from now. In fact, Renee was talking about his 6 money-making activities. I drew that at one of the NAREB conferences, and I have it on my wall. That was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. That's still, so I'm listening for those nuggets. That's one way, live visual capture. So hiring, working with someone to be on that meeting. The other thing that can create, so rather than a presentation, if you capture what your client is saying or what your referral partner is saying, you're capturing a conversation as opposed to just a presentation. People feel heard at a deeper level. It completely blows me away every time I'm doing this. Someone will come up to me and say, like, I feel like you heard me like no one else has ever heard me before. So that could be a really powerful, if you want to get feedback or you want to create that connection, doing that piece live is amazing.
Hey, real quick, guys, when you heard that, what did that make you think? Total cost analysis. I mean, if you're meeting with a family and they tell you their goals and you need to give them a loan, and you don't give them a total cost analysis, how can they feel heard? So if you want to be a wow, and whether you're doing a realtor meeting, you've got to use, and not because I'm Mr. Mortgage Coach, because it's the most powerful visual platform to present options. So I would just say a takeaway after what Muddy just said, there's visuals, and we're going to talk about what it looks like to hire Muddy or do some of these things yourself. But if a total cost analysis is not part of your Zoom meeting or your online presentation when you're teaching concepts and strategies, you're completely missing the boat. You're definitely not delivering the wow. Keep it going, brother.
Yeah, two other super quick ways. So I also have a lot of clients who want to create something that's visual that they can use over and over again. And as an example, my wife actually owns a real estate firm with 10 agents. And one of the things that they want to do is have a visual component where they can show their clients what that, let it focus, show their client what that home buying and selling process looks like. So creating some of these visual icons that they can then use to tell their story, that kind of roadmap for the buying and selling process. So creating graphics.
One thought on that, Buddy, which I think would be cool. You tell me whether or not you'd be willing to do this, but I'm going to show on my screen right now. We have an image. Now this is a slide, and it's a visual, it's powerful, it's a key concept. Muddy, would you be willing to, one, make an image of this that's just call it Freemium for Mortgage Coach, like a Muddy version of this, but then also be willing to make a custom version of this? Because I know a lot of loan officers are going to want it branded. They're going to want their own words. They may not want it to be 3, they may want it to be 4 or 5 or 2, but would you be willing to just kind of make a generic version as a gift to the Mortgage Coach community, and then make yourself available that, hey, if anybody in the Mortgage Coach community wants a custom version of this, let's schedule a call and let's create one. Is that a thing you'd be willing to do?
I've heard it say you should have 2 responses. It's either a no or a hell yeah. So absolutely, hell yeah. I'd be happy to create something that you can use that's a visual version of that graphic, and then also connect and be a resource if folks want to create their own kind of custom branded version of that.
Boom, you guys just got a free wow, and then you have an opportunity of a very affordable and a very reasonable custom wow that you could add to your arsenal. And then you can also learn how to have that pop up on your screen, when it matters most.
All right, here's the last way. And actually, Dave and I have worked together this way as well. He captured some conversations that after the fact, he's like, man, that would have been awesome in a graphic, right? The one with Donald Miller and StoryBrand, was one that came to mind. And so another way, and what I'm showing you on the screen, this is a graphic, a visual summary storyboard, and this one was drawn on my iPad that was created after the fact. So this is a way to create this takeaway, this memorable kind of one-page visual from a key conversation, right? A recorded conversation. So this is Renee's TED Talk. And even as you scan this, some of those elements come through. That courage scale comes through, this central theme that you can grow through adversity, when you choose to live above the line. So just another kind of example of the power of visuals, and that creates that wow factor.
Hey, Muddy, could you do me a favor? Because I think you actually visualized one of my Donald Miller interviews, and I know this is great, and you visualized my presentation at Fairway's sales rally. I think that was this year. Was that this year or last year?
Yeah, that was in the fall.
Yeah, so it was last year. But
Yep.
Would you mind throwing a few examples into the community, making a post? And just, and guys, the takeaway here is these were things that you could take a recording from a Zoom event, a Facebook event, you could give it to Muddy, and then he could create something that you then give to the audience. And guys, tell me how much your realtors would dig it. If you did a Zoom event for a real estate group, and then you gave them the recording, and then you said, hey, look, I had this made for our audience, and I had this made for you. And by the way, what if you actually flew it up, printed it out, and it was something that you thought it had value to them, and you gave it to them to hang on their wall, whether that's a backdrop in a virtual event or whether that's a backdrop in their live in-person office. I think it would be a super cool way to be the wow. Like that's what we're all about here. You know, it's Mortgage Coach is wow tools. We want you to create wow at your virtual events. We want you to create wow at your in-person events. Our product and our platform is a TCA, but that's why I'm pumped to have Muddy on here doing it. Muddy, is there anything else you want to make sure you share and remind people how they could get a hold of you and learn more about all your offerings?
Yeah, right on. Thanks, Dave. And so I'll just say whiteboardacademy.com. That's the easiest way. You'll see right at the top of the page, a yellow button says yes, book a discovery call. That'll go right to my calendar. We can jump on a free call and brainstorm. Let's hear let's hear what you're thinking. We'll come up with a plan, implement it, kick ass. So thanks for the opportunity to help unlock awesome.
All right. So Lynn just asked, what do I think about virtual backgrounds? I'm using one right now. I mean, I always think a live, in-person, like real world is going to be the best. You know, so if you are in a place where you can do something that you think's on point, if you were to do a small group meeting with me, I probably wouldn't have a virtual background in. You know, just the space that I'm in, I've chose to do that. If you want to do it at the highest quality, like I have a quality green screen back here, I have quality lighting, so that this is it's not an amazing virtual experience, but it's a pretty good one. I mean, it's got our logo, it's got some intentional things. It's pretty high level. And then sometimes I don't have a green screen and I'll do a virtual background because it's better than not. But all in all, the best, again, this is my opinion, is a real world intentional one, like both Renee and Muddy. But again, you don't always need to be playing the ultimate wow game. You know, when you're doing the big meeting with the big group, you may have one experience. And when you're doing the smaller meetings with smaller groups, you know, at the end of the day, don't let it get in the way of at least showing up on virtual and playing the game of virtual. So guys, we got 2 minutes left. Muddy just put a link to Whiteboard Academy. He's going to put a post in the Mortgage Coach group coming soon. I do not have time to get to the other topics that I put in our marketing and our promise, but I will cover those next Friday. And I am going to close out with a video that Renee helped create with one of his AV experts. And it's a Mortgage Coach testimonial video. And I want to play it for you right now. You guys are in our community. You already have Mortgage Coach, but I also want to show you what's possible with testimonials and how they can be used in a virtual environment. So when I shared these, I didn't pick my desktop. I picked the video player. And now I'm going to play the video player, and it's going to leverage your cameras. And it's going to be people saying great things about Mortgage Coach. So by the way, I could stop and give a little color, a little commentary. You know, like I'm talking to a bunch of loan officers, a bunch of realtors. If you're a consumer, you're doing a webinar, you could start a video and you can stop and give some color to it, and then let it keep playing.
Hey, Dave, folks are saying we can't hear the audio. In that share screen icon down on the bottom, or that dialogue on the bottom, it says use system sound. There's a little check mark.
Oh, so it's not playing. No one can hear it.
We only see the video. We can't hear it.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we're learning something here. Oh, share computer sound, optimize screen, share for video clip. All right, so thank you for that. All right, I'm gonna start up. Can you hear it? Can you hear it now?
The fact that all of Mortgage Coach's content is in mute. in the country, but it also allows for engagement.
And when real estate professionals got to see how professional and transparent and how educational my loan worksheets, my loan presentations were, it completely escalated that learning curve and how I moved up in the mortgage industry.
I never would be where I am today without access to the Facebook page and the YouTube channel. It just gave me access to loan officers nationwide, not in my own little bubble of where I live in, to be able to adopt the same strategies that they're using. It's invaluable.
The fact that all of Mortgage Coach's content is in YouTube, I can go really deep. And that allows me to have my loan officers go there, and it's easy for them to find without having to search all over some of the other mediums.
The TCA, the total cost analysis, allows you to create an experience for a client that puts you on par with the Ubers and the Delta apps and the rest of the way that people want to actually digest content.
I can directly track that the rate of return on my investment using Mortgage Coach is I close 33% more. If you were a company, if you were an owner, and you could increase your conversion by 30% more than you are right now, what's that worth?
So here's the takeaway, guys. One, I learned something. We're always learning. I just learned about that feature a week ago, and now I learned how to use it. Keep growing, baby. I love that. And here's hopefully the takeaway for everybody. Like, there's so much better we can do than where we're at today. The virtual economy was turbocharged with COVID. Grandma knows what Zoom is. We're mortgage professionals. We make a living by influencing, connecting, and leading people. And we can just play this game at a whole new level. And while we will get back into our real offices in the real world, there is a digital world and a virtual world that is here to stay. And we're going to have to be playing in that field. We're going to have to be leading in that field. We need to be profiting in that field. So hopefully we gave you a couple ideas to create wow. I hope a lot of you hire Muddy to, create awesomeness, unlock awesomeness of some of your images. I hope to see some of those images that we did, the 3 essentials to smart mortgage decisions. I hope to see those on social media. I hope to see more success stories where you guys are sharing a TCA at the point of sale. And remember, guys, connect with Renee. He is playing at the highest level I've seen. I haven't even seen a speaker or leader that's doing what he's doing. And so hopefully this is a valuable hour. Muddy, appreciate you, my brother. Boom. Knuckles to everybody. Have a great weekend, everybody. This call is a wrap. If you got value from this conversation, give us a like down below. Share it with your mortgage friends. For all you managers and leaders, I think if you want to create wow on virtually on your next meeting, have a meeting with your team on this and create the standards and the tech that you want to represent for your branch, your brand, and your market. Take care, everybody. Thank you, buddy.